Dreams are the royal road to the unconscious. Dream as the manifestation of an activity of replication which does not rest even at night. Dream focuses on the things unnoticed by us at times. It can be a person, a name, a flower. Our sight forgets or ignores the thing, but the brain shapes it and reminds us through our dreams. Hey guys, welcome back to Only English Literature. You have guessed it right, we are going to talk about various dreams in this work, and the work is The Interpretation of Dreams by Sigmund Freud. So, how the writer explicitly described the dream sequences and its meanings into his work, so we are going to dive into it. So, some dreams are represented in fragments. So, this is the reason why we cannot remember our dreams even after waking up. But some dreams are so powerful that we do not forget even after decades. Then it is questioned in the book whether the dreams are related to psychology or the physiology. Dreams are the result of disturbances in sleep. So why do we forget our dreams after awakening? We only remember a few small fragments. We retain dreams when they are mostly peculiar. Dreams are connected to our waking state, which is why we remember certain details of it. Freud, in the chapter Distortion of Dreams, says that dreams are the way to get fulfilled when we are suffering in real life. The only part to get satisfied is through dreams. He also cites that if someone is not satisfied in their dream, it is still connected to their real life. That might be because the person does not want to do it. Everyone has wishes, which he would not like to tell others, which he does not even want to admit to himself. All these are connected in the dream in the form of distortion and conclude as wish fulfillment. In the latter chapter, Freud tells about the dreams of the death of one's parents, father or mother. We have always seen the rivalry between a mother and a daughter and between father and son. Freud connects the latter with the primitive mythology of Cronus divorce his children. Another one of Zeus emasculates his father and takes the throne as a ruler. A son always tries to take his father's position from a family. On one hand, he observes his father as a patriarch of the family or the head, from where a tendency develops to kill his father and take his position. The equivalent thing happens with the mother and the daughter. A daughter is sexually attached to her father subconsciously. When a mother is not present in the house, she acts like her mother with her father. She wants a sexual position with her father and is hostile towards her mother. This gives rise to the concept of penis envy. This develops in a girl child when she realizes she has a vagina instead of a penis. When she discovers that boys have penis, they feel castrated and go through a phase of something that is lacking in them. So, for this deficiency, they condemn their mother, wish to kill them or their death. Thus, they start worshipping their father as a hero and identify them as hero. Similarly, boys tend to have an anxiety that is castration anxiety. As I have mentioned earlier about Freud's Oedipus complex, they are prone to have a sexual relation with their mother, which is why they fear losing their penis. When they fantasize of having an incestuous relationship with their mother and murder the father, they have this fear or anxiety of losing the penis as their punishment. According to Freud, the pleasure principle governs the behavior of the id, the part of the psyche that contains our most basic and primitive drives. What is id and pleasure principle according to Freud? So the id operates entirely on the pleasure principle. It is the source of our bodily needs, wants, desires and impulses, particularly our sexual and aggressive drives. The id seeks instant gratification without considering the consequences or reality of the situation. In the interpretation of dreams, Freud illustrates the pleasure principles through the analysis of dreams, which he considered to be the royal road to the unconscious. Dreams, according to Freud, are a manifestation of our unconscious desires and wish fulfillments. The example given by Freud of the dream of Irma's injection. One of the most famous dreams Freud discusses is his own dream known as Irma's injection. In this dream, Freud dreams about a patient named Irma who is suffering from a medical issue. In the dream, Freud examines her and discovers that another doctor has made an error in treating her. This dream was later analyzed by Freud to reveal his own feelings of guilt and responsibility, as well as his desire to shift the blame onto others. Pleasure principle in the dream. The pleasure principle is evident in the wish fulfillment aspect of the dream. Freud's unconscious desire to relieve himself of guilt and blame for Irma's condition is fulfilled in the dream by finding another doctor responsible for her suffering. This fulfillment provides Freud with unconscious pleasure as it alleviates his feelings of guilt and anxiety. Freud explains that the dream work transforms the latent content. Latent means unconscious, that is not conscious, that we are not something doing unconsciously. So, into the manifest content, the dream as remembered. So, latent content that unconscious desires into the manifest content, that means the dream that we remember. The pleasure principle drives this process as it seeks to convert disturbing thoughts into a more acceptable form that can provide pleasure or relief from distress. By examining dreams, Freud believed that he could uncover the hidden desires and motivations that are governed by the pleasure principle. These desires often manifest in disguised forms in dreams, allowing the dreamer to experience a form of pleasure or wish fulfillment without the constraints of reality and social norms. Then come ego and reality principle. In contrast to the id, the ego operates on the reality principle. The ego understands that immediate gratification is not always possible and delays it to ensure safety and avoid negative consequences. The ego balances the desires of the id with the constraints of reality and social norms. One of the dreams Freud analyzes that illustrates the reality principle is the dream of the burning child. This dream is recounted by a father who had recently lost his child to illness. In the dream, the child is standing by the father's bed and saying, "Father, can't you see I am burning?" The father then wakes up to find that a candle had fallen over and set the child's shroud on fire. The analysis of this dream is the latent content of the dream may involve the father's deep feelings of guilt and grief over his child's death. The dream allows these intense emotions to surface in a symbolic form. The manifest content of this same dream is the dream's surface narrative, where the father sees his burning child and wakes up to find the real fire. This content is shaped to be less distressing and more acceptable to the dreamer, making it a form that the ego can tolerate without overwhelming anxiety. Reality principle in action. The reality principle is evident in the way the dream orchestrates the waking up process. The dream incorporates the external stimulus, the sensation of heat and the light of the fire, into its narrative, allowing the father to wake up and address the real world danger. This process demonstrates how the ego can utilize dreams to manage real world situations, integrating the reality principle even within the realm of sleep and unconscious thought. In this example, the reality principle allows the dream to serve a practical function, waking the father up to prevent a potentially disastrous fire. The dream provides a way for the unconscious mind to communicate urgent information to the conscious mind, ensuring that the father can respond to the immediate danger. This integration of the reality principle shows how dreams can bridge the gap between the unconscious desires and real world needs. Then we come on superego. The superego incorporates the values and morals of society, which are learned from one's parents and others. It acts to control the its impulses, especially those that society forbids, such as aggression and sexual desires. Freud discusses a dream of one of his patients known as the dream of the butcher's wife. This dream can be used to illustrate the influence of the superego. So let's know about the latent content of this dream. Latent content means the unconscious desires of this dream, where the dream involves the woman's desires and her internal conflicts regarding them. She may have an unconscious desire for the better, more expensive cut of meat, representing a wish of luxury or indulgence. And what is the manifest content of this dream? The manifest content, the narrative of refusing the expensive meat, reflects her conscious moral stance and economic prudence. Superego action lying in this dream is that it is evident in the dream through the woman's refusal to accept the more expensive meat. This refusal represents the influence of her internalized moral and societal standards, which prioritize thriftiness and modesty over indulgence. The superego acts to suppress her unconscious desire for luxury, a desire stemming from the id, reinforcing values such as self restraint and fiscal responsibility. In this dream, the superego enforces societal norms and personal ethics by making the woman dream about adhering to these values, even though unconsciously she may wish for something different. The dream portrays a compromise between the id's desire and the superego's restrictions, mediated by the ego. This reflects the dynamic interplay between the different parts of the psyche in the context of the dream. Now, let's come upon the id principle given by Freud with the example presented by him. Freud suggested that dreams are a form of wish fulfillment, where the id expresses repressed desires that cannot be acted upon in waking life due to social or moral constraints imposed by the ego and superego. Since the id operates unconsciously, dreams can provide a way for these suppressed or socially unacceptable wishes to surface. The example given by Freud is he recounts a dream he had about his own thirst while sleeping. In the dream, he drank water but woke up still thirsty. This dream exemplified the id's wish for immediate satisfaction of a physical need, that is, thirst here. But the real world need was not fully gratified. The dream provided a temporary illusion of satisfaction, which is a direct expression of the id's desire for immediate gratification. Freud explains that the id often expresses desires that the ego and superego suppress during waking hours. In this case, the thirst is a simple example, but more complex desires such as sexual or aggressive urges are often disguised through symbolic imagery. Freud would interpret the symbolic or distorted images in the dreams as hidden expressions of repressed desires rooted in the id, especially when those desires are socially or morally unacceptable. For example, a dream about climbing a mountain could be interpreted as representing a hidden repressed sexual desire, filtered through the id's impulses and disguised by the dream work to avoid conflict with the ego and the superego. If you have found this video significant to you, then like, share and subscribe to this channel.